Hey folks, it's Amy from Colorado Mountain Living, and winter is not holding off for us. It seems like the forecast is really cold temperatures at night, which is making the snow stay, the small amount of snow that we do have, and making the ground freeze, making it difficult, more difficult to get our trench refilled. And also, we have a lot of wood to cut up still, and we're going through it pretty good because it's pretty cold out. So a lot of chores have to be done, and I'm the one available to do them right now during the day. So I'm going to work on getting some wood split and seeing if I can backfill some of the trench by the house. Anyway, definitely have some things to do before this weekend because Sunday looks like another storm coming. Woo! Hey, we're rolling with it now because we know how to do this. Our first few snowstorms kind of challenged us, and now we know how to get through them, keeping the driveway clear, making sure we got plenty of fuel to burn, some keeping warm, keeping our water lines warm. So I'm going to get to it, going to chop up some wood today. I'll show you what Brian did earlier last weekend. We had some days off. We've had this wood pile for like 2 or 3, I wouldn't say going on 3 years now. When we first bought the property, Brian cut down a bunch of aspens for the driveway and just stacked them right there. So this wood's pretty dry, and he got the chainsaw out and cut some things up. But I think anything bigger than 6 inches, I'm going to try to split in half, and so we'll have a nice, easy to burn pile. So I learned a little bit since my last experience with chopping wood. A lot of advice folks were saying lower your chopping block and let the axe do the work and this and that. So it definitely helps that this wood's drier. I think the wood I was trying to split last year, it was just fresh cut pine trees. So they were pretty gnarly. Anyway, this is going a lot better and definitely a lot drier. And I'm using a pallet to kind of contain my chopping block as well so it doesn't move around on me. But the more I chop, the more I work through my chopping block. It's kind of splitting up into pieces here. I have a work hazard. The dog wants to play ball, so I have to keep an eye on him, make sure he's out of the way when I'm doing my swinging. Chopping block's getting demolished, so it's kind of why I'm having some problems. Don't really have quite a level surface, so I gotta go look for something else. It's just in pieces right now. Well, that's a wrap. Got most of the wood split. The stuff I could. I need Vigo's help. This Vigo is really good at taking rocks and rolling them down the hill. I'm just trying to pick out all the big stuff, so if we scoop it up and throw it on the screen, it doesn't damage it. So a strategy is, as Brian's backfilling, we're lifting up on the cable, getting a good amount of dirt underneath it for bedding, pulling out all these little rocks by hand. It's a lot of work, but it's just the best way to do it because we don't want to have any sharpness around surrounding the cable as we bury it. So our method here is Brian dumps a few loads through the screen, and then we spread out what falls into the trench with a rake and a shovel and evenly spread it so we can move the screen onto another section and then repeat the process. So it's kind of labor intensive. We pick it up and move it and then place it, and then Brian goes ahead and gets a few more loads and we keep going. So as the day progressed, we decided to kind of make things a little bit more efficient. Brian's using the backhoe to work on the dirt pile, so he's trying to get a bunch of dirt loosened up so he can do multiple siftings at the same time. So we decided, instead of going up the hill with a sifter, and to reduce the risk of flipping the tractor, we decided to focus on going down the driveway and doing the trench along the driveway. Brian was getting a little worried that the further up we were going, we got a little ways, but he said, the more I carry a load with the tractor, the higher the risk I have of maybe, having a tractor accident. So let's take this and go down the driveway. So we worked on the corner a little bit, and he's just taking dirt, and you can see, we've got it about halfway filled back in, and now we can just use the native dirt. We can use rocks on top. There's a nice bed of soft dirt that's cushioning the cable, so we can just go ahead and drag all this rest of the dirt and rocks with it on top. It's just that it's all frozen, so that's definitely more time consuming. So we can just do that later when we've got the time to do it. We're just trying to get the soft fill in. That's the priority. So working our way down the driveway, and it's time consuming. We've got to sift all the dirt, and Brian's carrying bucket loads of pre-sifted dirt, and eventually we're going to move the sifter down further down the driveway. But it just seemed like going up the hill was going to be more of an effort, so it's probably just better to do that part later. Plus, the hill gets more sun, so we can actually, have better opportunity to work with dirt that's maybe not quite as frozen, because it gets that direct sun all the time. Our Grizzly sifter is holding up pretty well. The screen is holding up, even despite some of the big rocks that are coming off the piles. But we are getting a lot of plant material build up, and that's clogging the screen. So I have to scrape every time Brian does a dump, because as you can see, it's just getting clogged with like grassy root material. This is after I cleaned it. So now it's time to move the sifter down further down the driveway. Brian's thinking that the dirt on this side of the driveway is not quite as hard, so we can just use the sifter directly. Save us some trips back and forth on the dirt pile over here. Still quite a mixture of frozen dirt and rocks. But this is the part we already backfilled with softer sifting dirt. But we still have this little section to go that needs sifted backfill. And Brian thought he was going to use the bucket to do that. We could just dump it on the sifter. But it's still pretty, I don't know, I think he's trying to judge how frozen the ground is. There's a lot of clumps, but we still might be able to do it. So Brian's got the screen positioned over the driveway trench here. He's gone to turn the tractor around, and he's going to scoop up this dirt that's on the side of the driveway and see if we can't sift it through. Hopefully it's not too frozen. Somewhat working, just a couple frozen clods of dirt. Yeah, there's definitely some frozen dirt. I know it's pretty well split down there. Hey folks, I don't think we're going to make our goal. At least it was my goal today to finish the trench, but there's absolutely no way. Sun's already going down right now, and we did about half of it, but there's just no way we can finish all of it. So it's definitely a disappointment to me, because it's just going to keep getting colder and colder, and I don't know how we're going to backfill frozen dirt. It's going to take 10 times as long. So I'll show you what we did get done. Here's the pole. So we still have this section to do. We made it to the culvert. So we did about the culvert all the way back up to where we started in the first part of the hill. Doesn't really seem like much. Actually, it only seems like it's about a third of the distance now that I look at it. So definitely 3 more solid days of work. So gotta keep working at it. Brian's got our sifter broke. The leg kind of got split. Brian's putting in one more bucket load of pre-sifted dirt that we pre-sifted earlier. And then he's going to try to push some of this backfill into place. But our sifter is definitely on its last legs. Let me zoom in here and you can see the split 2x4 right there. It's just whenever you're throwing down big loads, it seems to really make it shaky. So we might be calling it quits tonight. It's getting cold. Well, it's after supper now, and Brian went back out to keep working on the driveway. I think he's going to keep going until he gets too tired, because that snow's supposed to start tonight at midnight, and then we could have 5 inches. We could have 8 inches by tomorrow. Who knows what we're going to get overnight, but he's just trying to go while the ground is still soft enough. I think he's having good luck with a pile of dirt that's on the side of the driveway down there. It's a little bit looser than what he was working with, so he's taking advantage of that, because I think after next week we're not going to have an abundance of easy sifting dirt anymore. I think it's going to be pretty frozen. Now it's going to be really hard to backfill, but we'll have to do our hill that way in any case, because we didn't get to that today. You know, when I came back from helping him, I remembered all the wood that I split yesterday, and I was trying to, in a hurry, bring a lot of it inside before we got all of the snow. So this is just a little makeshift pile. I covered up the rest of the wood that was outside with the tarp, but if it's not too snowy in the morning, I'll try to bring in more and get it covered in case we do get 10 inches of snow, because that will probably take a while to melt. And it's the next morning, so as you can see, we've got our storm, and my ruler is freezing up here, but I was going to get a measure. All right, so I just did a quick measure. We're at almost 6 inches right now, and it's still coming down pretty hard. The winter storm advisory said expect snow until about 4 p.m., and we're not even to noon yet. So I think we're going to get a lot more snow before the day is over, and I'm glad that we got as much done as we did yesterday, even though we didn't finish the job. Brian went back out after dinner and did a few more hours, like you saw, in the dark on this tractor. He didn't get all the way to the end of the road, but this morning he was working on the trench by the house. We have a dirt pile over by the shed, and he was kind of trying to fill that in a little bit, just because the electrician really needs that part done so she can be able to reach her cable installation. So right now Brian's got the plow going. He's working on the driveway. Like I said, we've got about 6 inches, so he's probably gonna have to do more than one pass through on the driveway up here. You know, luckily the snow is really fluffy, and I was shoveling some walking paths earlier, and it was really easy shoveling. So we do have one fella who is really excited about the snow and really wants to play in it every minute. You really can't shovel without him trying to catch a shovel full of snow. It's really pretty, you know, as far as winter days go. I think the camera's probably fogging up, but it's definitely a nice, fluffy, peaceful snow. I just really wish we could have gotten that trench finished. You know, we just had the trench on the hill pretty much, and Brian's been working on filling this part in by the house. We'd like to get this part filled in pretty soon, but everything's freezing up, and we've got a couple more days of really, really cold weather before things start to warm up, and I'm just afraid that the snow is just going to really hang on for a while because the ground is so cold. It's going to be really hard to dig anything. So that's our story for this weekend, this week's wrap up. The good news is that we did get our well permit approved, and that came last week, a few days ago, and I contacted the well driller, and we got 2 people ahead of us, so it looks like the week of Thanksgiving is going to be our week. We'll find out, maybe 2 weeks away from our well, and that's exciting. The plumber's starting on Tuesday, so that's fantastic, and the electrician still needs to reschedule for another day next week, and she said probably one more day and she'll be wrapped up. So it looks like some things are wrapping up, even though it really feels like things are stuck because of the weather. It just seems like this has been a full force winter compared to last year. And folks have said, you know, the last several years it really hasn't snowed that much, but we're definitely getting our share this year. So it's definitely made things a lot more challenging and slowed down the pace. But we're still chipping away at it. And once we get our final electric gut done and the trench buried, then we can get our final inspection done. And then after we get all of our plumbing roughed in and our framing inspection done, then we can talk insulation. So that is definitely in the next few weeks. It's definitely something that's coming. It just can't get here fast enough because I think winter beat us to it. So, you know, in the race against winter, I feel like we're behind right now, but maybe by the end of the year we'll be caught up. So keep cheering for us, folks. I hope we can get a thumbs up for our efforts, and see you at the next video. We're going to update you on the status of electric and plumbing and the process of Brian building the shower. That'll be interesting as well. He's putting in a steam shower. So before the video camera gets filled up with snow, I'm going to sign off. We'll see you guys next time. See you later.